Okay. So a couple weeks ago, I talked about how to crush your goals in 2024, but this is there was a few things, a few holes in it that I wanted to do, and it was as well as this very uh big. And so I want to condense it down a little bit. So, hey, if you're new here, my name is Chris Hughes. I've been a trainer, nutrition coach, and a women's health coach for coming up to like 13 years now. Doing pretty good. Pretty doing this for a while now. Helping people lose weight, create hormonal harmony, and help you build a body that you love without cutting carbs, restricting your favorite foods, or spending hours on the treadmill. Today, I'm talking about how to set goals that you can actually realistically achieve, so you don't have to keep living the same few months or even years. Man, some of my clients have come to me after decades of on and off yo-yo dieting, and I'm not even kidding. Like, I had a client, I think last April, who came to me after she's now 48 years old and she went on her first diet. Her mom put her on her first diet when she was 9 years old. That's almost 4 decades of battling with this stuff. So today I'm talking about all about how you can actually set goals that you can actually realistically achieve, so you don't have to keep living those times on those months or years on repeat, and just every single time telling yourself this is it, not all like this is going to be it, but then it fails, right? And then, oh, maybe the next thing, right? And not that either. So today I'm going to deep dive on how to actually set new goals that are realistic and sustainable, so that you never fall off, and get frustrated or hit that panic button and throw it out the window ever again. That sounds good to you? Welcome. Let's get into this. But if you've listened to this show or seen a few of these live trainings, I have some thought experiments for you and thoughts to share with you today. Things I want you to think about, especially going into this, because they actually connect. They actually are very linked. So really, there are two of them today, and together they really fit with today's theme of goal setting. So number one, remember your circle of control. We control our reasoned choice and all acts that depend on that moral will. What is not under our control is our possessions, our romantic partner, our children, friends, siblings, boss, coworkers, the weather. If the milk has gone bad, like if someone cuts you off in traffic, you cannot control other people's beliefs, opinions, thoughts, and behaviors. But what is in your control are your thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, the foods you put in your mouth, planning ahead and anticipating challenges, obstacles, uh, parking further away to just get a few more steps in, your daily actions, how you respond to someone cutting you off in traffic, or your boss yelling at you, or if the scale bumps up, you get to control how you respond to that, right? Your efforts are under your control. The ability to challenge your own thoughts and beliefs, and the ability to reflect and change behaviors, routines, and patterns are all under your control. And all of that to say that what's truly in your control is your mind, and really nothing else. But that's also some really great news, because it really just drastically reduces the amount of things you actually have to worry and stress about. There's a lot of clarity in that simplicity. And while the vast majority of people are frantically running around with a mountain of stress and responsibilities a mile wide, things that they're not actually responsible for, you've really just got a list of one thing, and that's your mind, your choices, your will, and your actions. If you can maintain control of your mind, you truly and meaningfully win at pretty much anything. But I think too many people put way too much energy into taking responsibility for other people's happiness. Too many people put far too much energy into taking responsibility for other people's happiness and other people's stress. Their acceptance of themselves and their happiness are not your burdens to carry. Worry about your own, because that's something you can control. Ever feel like somebody took you for granted? Like you put in all this effort into somebody only to get very little back in return. Their happiness, their responsibility, like their happiness is their responsibility, not yours. Focus on your own. Which actually leads kind of nicely into the second topic, which is the topic of inner peace. Because true peace is staying the course. Forget who said it, but it might be one of my favorite quotes. And that is, tranquility cannot be grasped except by those who have reached an unwavering and firm power of judgment, while the rest constantly fall and rise in their constant decisions, wavering in a state of accepting and rejecting. And what causes this back and forth? It's simple. They rely on the most unreliable guide, the common opinion. Believe in your own decisions, have clarity of vision. And having this clarity will allow you to have this belief. And that's not to say that you'll never make a mistake. Far from it. No one is perfect, nor ever will be or should be. But we can rest assured that we're heading in a very generally right direction, right? If you're listening to this, you're heading in the right direction. You're already doing something right. If you're joining the challenge that I just launched, you're doing the right thing. You're going in the right direction. We don't need to compare ourselves to others or change our minds every 3 seconds based on new information. You identify the path and stick to it, staying the course, making adjustments here and there naturally, but ignoring the distractions that try to pull you off course. We also call this shiny object syndrome. And it's something that really really plagues the nutrition coaching space or just nutrition space, health space in general, is that, oh, look, a shiny new thing. This will be the one. This will be the one. It's this thing. This thing will do it. This thing will get me where I want to go. But referring back to the first point, where you put your focus is entirely in your control. So with that said, let's set some goals. Keeping in mind those things, by the way, what's in your control and staying the course. You know the path, stick to it. You see, most people live in the same year over and over again to the point where it actually damages the psychology, where you almost want to stop setting goals altogether because you keep saying things like new year, new me, or I'm really going to try this year. I'm really going to make it this time, or this year's going to be my year. And then it isn't. And that makes you feel like kind of an imposter. In fact, it affects your motivation, your drive, and even makes you feel more discouraged from setting goals again in the future. Because every time you've tried, you've failed. And so you feel discouraged. Of course, you don't want to try again. You don't want to fail again. That hurts. It sucks. But today I'm going to show you how to fix all of that so you can make this year the best year yet. So where people usually go wrong when setting these goals for weight loss. Mistake number one, they set goals that are just way too big. Because their goals are based entirely on what they're feeling right now. Like don't get me wrong, I love the vibes when diving into setting new goals. I love how good that feels. It's exciting. It feels like a breath of fresh air. I'm focused. I'm ready to go. But you really end up setting yourself up for failure in about 2 to 3 weeks because at some point, all of those feelings begin to mellow out and you feel that motivation slip away. Like, what's the percentage of time you actually spend feeling motivated, fired up, and thrilled to get after it? I'm guessing not that much. So what you need to do is make the plan and day-to-day things as if you were not going to be motivated at all this time around. Like, plan your day, plan your journey as if you're not motivated, and make the adjustments, make the day-to-day plans as if you're not motivated. Because let's face it, that's going to be most of the time. But since your plan is built around not being motivated, we've already made it so much easier to stick to the program long term so you never gain the weight back, because you're making the plan in anticipation of when you don't feel fantastic. We're planning for our average days or even our bad days rather than only on the days we feel good. Because if you feel good, you don't need to worry about being motivated. You feel great. You feel fantastic. You have the energy. You're going to go do it. So don't plan for as if every day is going to look that way, because it's not. It will not look that way at all. Maybe 5% of the time it's going to look that way. So how about we plan for the other 95% of the time? Why don't we make the plan to resemble what an average day actually looks and feels like? Or even a bad day. Because if I can make your bad days better, if you can plan so that your bad days are better, then your entire experience is going to elevate. Mistake number 2 is you're basing your entire plan based on what other people are doing, what your friends are doing. Like going back to what I said before, stop getting distracted. Stay the course. Basing your plan on someone else is just setting you up for failure. It's just not practical and it's not sustainable. There are 8.5 billion people on this planet. There's 8.5 billion different protocols, period. Right? Everything I do with my clients is solely based on the person in front of me. Sure, tips and tricks that have worked for others might be relevant to the individual in your situation, but the plan itself is molded to you, the individual, because everyone has different preferences and needs. Some love to, have a couple drinks on the weekend, right? Wing Wednesdays, NFL night, like football Sundays, like game night on Fridays, road trips, date nights. Um, some people binge eat, stress eat, emotionally eat. Some people have staff parties, weddings, barbecues, hiking, camping, and all of these different events. Everyone lives their own lives and have their own needs and need a plan to support these things. And if your plan doesn't support these things, your plan sucks and is doomed for failure. You're trying to cram yourself in a box called the keto diet rather than trying to make the plan fit your lifestyle. I had a client who came to me swearing up and down that that the keto diet was the best diet. It's the only diet she would do. And during conversations, she mentioned that she wanted to travel to Italy and Japan, the carb capitals of the world. You see the problem? So over time, I had to slowly kind of integrate carbs into her life, and not only integrate carbs into her plan, but also teach her to love carbohydrates while also eating an abundance of carbohydrates if she wanted to actually survive those vacations. Otherwise, she was going to go there and be super stressed about all the food that's around her because all of them are carbs. So she's either going to starve herself or she's going to go off the rails and gain 20 pounds because she didn't know how to moderate her carbs. She didn't know how to moderate those foods. She didn't know how to actually control herself. And fact is, if you avoid a certain food, you are actually showing that that food still has power over you. Because the only way for you to quote unquote get results is if you just avoid them altogether. So slowly we had to integrate these things so that she can actually survive the holidays and actually survive these vacations. So she actually enjoy these. She can actually go to these places that she really wants to go to throughout the world. And again, when it comes to like talking about like comparing your plan to like your friends, like if your friend loses 10 pounds in a month, you're going to get excited and then jumped on to do the same thing. But if you only drop 4 pounds, you're going to think you're doing something wrong. You're going to get frustrated and you're going to quit. Even though you're literally 4 pounds closer to your goal, somehow you're going to call that a failure because you're comparing and expecting the same thing your friends did. So, point number 3, do not have a timeline. Mistake number 3 is you put a timeline on your goals. So you want to lose 50 pounds. That'll be roughly, on average, about a pound a week, over the course of a year. But what happens when you're 2 weeks into the year and the scale hasn't budged? Or God forbid, you actually gained 2 pounds. Well, now you're going to hit panic mode. And this is why I love the idea of high intention, low expectation, and attachment. Because you might intend to lose a bunch of weight, but you have to have low expectations and low attachment to the actual outcome. Because you can't always control the outcome. You can control your actions, but you cannot always control the result. You can't always control the outcome. Like I said earlier, aim your focus on what you can control and ignore what you can't. You can't control how fast your body loses weight. You can't control how where and when and how fast your body loses body fat. You can't control that, but you can control your actions. So shift your focus away from the outcome and onto the actions, which actually brings me to number 4. Is your goals And this is the last one, by the way, it's a long one. Your goals are purely outcome driven, outcome focused. This is a big one. It's all extrinsic. It's all external things and outcome driven. I want to lose 50 pounds off my body. Well, what if you lost that 20 pounds of fat, but then you gained 20 pounds of muscle? You would look incredible. You would have more energy. You'd be stronger. You'd have less joint pain. You'd be sleeping better. Your clothes will be fitting better. Your inches will be down. You'll be more present with your kids. You'll be stronger and leaner. But the scale didn't go down. And so you panic and throw the towel because you feel like a failure, even though you got some of the best results on earth in every sense of the word. You still hit the panic button because the scale didn't go down. Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? But this is what happens when you only focus on the outcome and not on the actual individual actions and the qualities that you're trying to improve. You can't control outcomes, but you can always control your actions. And actions lead to outcomes. So shift your focus to the actions, not the outcomes. Right. And anybody who's joined my program in the past 6 months, they will tell you that this is how I started. All of my clients start with this. Who do you want to be? And how does that version of you live their life? Because if you were to actually lose the 50 pounds, but you didn't look or feel any different, would that make you happy? No, of course not. Because the 50 pounds is not what matters. It's everything that you think losing that 50 pounds will add to your life. Write those things down. And now you're left with and now you're left with a long list of things that you need to improve. So what are these few action steps to create those things for you? Which will then create that 50-pound loss as a byproduct of improving those things. And look, the feeling of always chasing your goals doesn't really feel that good. 50 pounds is a long way to go if you're always chasing. It's elusive and it's frustrating. You're always chasing, desperate, and operating out of this place of lack in your life. It'll actually push your goals away from you if you think of it that way. Like, think of some guy coming up to you and trying to hit on you, and they reek of desperation, right? And neediness. Like, you'll reflexively be repelled like that by that. Your weight loss goal of 50 pounds will do the same thing. If you're always desperately trying to hit that 50-pound goal, desperately trying to lose weight, I got to lose this 50 pounds. I got to lose it. I got to do it. I got to lose it. But here's the thing. You can't always control the outcome. And so if you're putting in all this effort, desperately trying to lose the weight, and the weight's not coming off as fast as you'd like, you're going to get frustrated and you're going to quit. You cannot control the outcome, but you can always control your actions. And when you start acting in a way that attracts the goal that you want, that outcome comes to you rather than you having to chase it. So instead of saying, I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year, say, I'm going to be someone who works out 3 days a week. I'm going to be someone who starts their day off with a glass of water. I'm going to eat some sort of fruits and veggies every single day. I'm going to start tracking my protein intake. I'm going to start drinking 2 liters of water every day. Like, pick 1 or 2 things that you can start doing each and every day, and then get really good at following through with those daily actions. And then once you feel confident in doing those 1 to 3 things, pick 1 or 2 more. And all you're doing is you're taking that vision that you already made for yourself, right? Who do you want to be? And you're taking those things that that person does and you're integrating them into your life now. And by committing to the actions of that future self who's already succeeded, you're just being that person now. And eventually your body's going to catch up. By focusing on just the outcome, it feels gross if you're just chasing that 50 pounds. And then 2 weeks later, the scale hasn't budged, or one day the scale jumps up randomly. This is how you think you're doing everything right, but you're not losing any weight. So you get frustrated. And so you hit the fuck it button, you hit the screw up button, you hit the panic button, you throw it all out the window. And this is where expectations come in again. Because like I taught earlier, by only losing 4 pounds, you feel like a failure because you missed the goal of 10, despite the fact that you're actually 4 pounds closer to your goal than you were when you started. Why is going the right direction somehow wrong? And again, like I was saying way at the beginning, you're going in the general right direction. You just need to make small little pivots, small little adjustments, but keep going. Don't get distracted. Stay the path. If you're going in the right direction, that means you're doing things right. It means you're actually going the right, you're doing the right things that get you the results. You just need to keep doing it. Just because it didn't happen, you didn't lose 10 pounds in a month, doesn't mean it's not working. It just means your expectations are skewed. It means that you're still so hammered and laser focused in on the outcomes rather than the actions. However, if you shift your focus and your energy and attention from the outward goal of the outcome to the internal goal of actions that are in your control, they'll be so much further ahead. It's not even funny. Like, it's ridiculous how fast you actually make progress. Because here's the thing: most people think it's like this, that you're going to lose, you're going to lose a ton of weight as you're kind of putting things together. But that's not actually the case. You're changing your entire life. It's not easy. There's a lot of things that need to move around, and the more you start to work at it, most people think that weight loss is like an instant success. When in reality, when you actually start getting the proper things down, when you start doing the actions, getting the protein, getting the steps in, getting the fiber, get like eating more fruits and vegetables, whole foods, eliminating processed foods, eliminating alcohol, and you start feeding your body this way, and you start slowly committing to these actions, your weight loss will be slow at the beginning, but it'll actually speed up over time because more and more things are clicking into place. You'll actually get so much further, so much faster if you're just patient enough to put things together over time rather than just assuming it's all going to come together immediately and give you all the results within a month. It doesn't work that way. And I've used this analogy before. When you try to do it that way, when you try to change everything all at once, what ends up happening is you look like that guy on that asshole on the highway who's ripping down, passing everybody on the highway, clearly in a rush. And you say, "Wow, if you're going to speed that much, why didn't you just leave earlier?" Like, we've all said that, right? And somebody's just ripping down the highway, and then 10 minutes later, you pass them because they were pulled over by the police for speeding. And now they were in such a rush to try and get to their destination that they crashed and burned, and now they're falling behind everyone else who's doing it the right way. And you just kind of wave at them as you pass by and you go, "Idiot." That's who you become. If you try to rush this, if you try to do everything all at once and you have these expectations where it's like, I got to lose weight every single day. If I don't lose weight every day, if it's not a straight line, if it never fluctuates, then then it's not working. If I don't lose 10 pounds this month, it's not working. When in reality, that's actually not the case. And now, because you treated it that way, you just became that person that got pulled over. And now you have to like hang your head in embarrassment and guilt and shame as everyone passes you doing it the right way and looks at you. They now know exactly who you are. They saw you do it and they saw you crash and burn. And now you feel guilty and shameful because now you're gaining the weight back again. This is how you end that cycle. You have to do things without expectations. Start your day off with a nice morning walk because it energizes you and it makes you feel good to get out in fresh air, regardless of whether or not you lose weight. A lot of people only ever participate in healthy activities with the stipulation that they lose weight. People say it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle, but only under the condition that they lose weight and they get closer to the outcome, that 50 pounds. Otherwise, they give up on that too and they throw that out the window again. They didn't treat it like a lifestyle, because a healthy lifestyle is doing healthy things regardless of what the outcome is. Getting outside, getting 7,000 steps a day, focusing on eating more protein and fiber, having a sleep routine, strength training, weight training, having a set bedtime that does not change, even on the weekends. Like, these are all healthy things to do regardless if you lose weight or not. But when you only solely focus on losing weight and looking a particular way, you tend to sacrifice your health, both mental and physical, in order to get there. When you focus on your health, you get both. So set action-based goals that are not predicated on weight loss, but rather because you know that's just what healthy people do. If you want to become someone who's healthy, That needs to be the focus, regardless of the outcome, regardless if you lose weight or not. Because the question is not, how do I lose 50 pounds, but rather, who do I have to become who loses 50 pounds? If you want to change your reality, you have to first change your personality, which means your values, your character traits have to shift and change and grow into something more. So, who do you want to be? How does that version of you live their life? If you want to improve the quality of your life, you must first improve the quality of your actions, your character traits, your personality traits. You need to picture the future version of yourself that lives this life and then start aligning your actions, your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors with that version of yourself. And the good thing is that these are all under your control. But this is the hardest part of the entire process that everyone skips. And it's why people always struggle. It's why people always gain the weight back. It's why you've never been able to find something that works long term, that's sustainable. Because once you decide what you want, who that person is, and what that person does, and the values that person holds, the hard part is the fact that you now have to change, which is hard. It's the hardest part. It's uncomfortable. It's literally you telling yourself that you, as you are now, are not capable of being this person. That, as it stands, the way you're currently living your life is not one that deserves to lose 50 pounds. Because your body is a perfect reflection of exactly how you treat it, how you feed it, how you move it. The beauty of this is that you are under no obligation to be the same person that you were 5 minutes ago. So decide now who you want to be and start aligning your actions with that person. And one day, you'll have stacked an undeniable stack of proof that you are who you say you are, that you are this person, solidifying that newer, improved version of you, making the old version of you completely obsolete. You'll become the version of you who is 50 pounds lighter. You'll be strong AF. You'll be lean and sexy. You'll be a great role model for your children or future children. You'll wake up feeling fully recharged and energized to take on your day. You'll have an improved relationship with food, yourself, and exercise. Your clothes will be fitting better, not having to keep wearing the same few articles of clothing again and again and again, or hide behind baggy clothes. You're not going to feel physically restricted from living the way that you want to live. You're not always going to be the one hiding behind the camera because now you actually want to be in the pictures. And you're going to love who you see staring back in the mirror. I hope this was helpful. I hope this brings you some clarity. If you're watching this or listening to this the week of January 15th, do not miss out. I am launching a 21-day New Year's Momentum Challenge. By the time February hits, well over 60% of everyone who set a New Year's resolution regarding their weight has already dropped off. This challenge is designed to refocus, re-engage on the things that really matter for long-term health and reignite that momentum and motivation to carry you through to the end. If you're listening to the podcast, click the link down in the show notes to sign up. If you're watching this, comment momentum below this video, and I'll see you next time. Take care.